What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of Black Bullet episode 7, and this episode, it was pretty freaking good. I love that final battle that we got between Tina and Rentaro, because their fight, it was pretty freaking awesome. I definitely enjoyed it a lot. But the episode itself overall was pretty good, and we see now that the episode, it picks off from last week, and we see now that Inju, she got pretty beat up. We see now that luckily she is alive, but she was in a hospital, and we see now that the doctors, they had to use enough of the medicine, I guess, to knock her out for 2 days, because that is how much of a heavy dose that he had to give to her. So that right there goes to show you how badly Tina hit her. And so we see now that when Rentaro, because he was like definitely worried, and we see now that even he now suffering from exhaustion, because we see that when him and Kisara was there checking on Inju, he actually collapsed, and it goes to show you how tired that he was, and how exhausted, and how pushed to limits that like Tina is actually getting to him. And so we see that he had all these thoughts running through his head, and we see that after he took a shower, or perhaps it was before, like a flashback maybe, we see that when he does go to the scene of the crime, we see that Tina, she has like these multiple heavy action sniper rifles, and we see that something was like mounted on them, and so obviously that right there what would definitely have to be looked into. But we see that that we see like this pool of blood on the ground, and obviously it's Inju blood. And so we see that Inju, she was hit from like multiple directions, from like a bunch of snipers. So that explains why she lost so much blood. But obviously, even though she got hit by that, she was still alive. So it's like Tina here, Tina really does not like killing, despite her rank. And so we see that Rentaro, he was like trying to wrap his head around this whole thing, and we see now that while he was getting his thoughts together, we have the leader of Senteshi's, like of her guard. We have him now appearing, and I cannot stand this guy. I am glad that he got what he deserved at the end, but I cannot stand this guy at all. And so we see now that he has come to Rentaro, and of course he's like mocking him, saying that another meeting has been set up, and of course because he lost Inju, then he'll probably had no part in there. But to his surprise, Rentaro definitely going to get involved again. And so we see now that Rentaro, he like is like really pissed off, and he now threatened this guy. He was saying to like set up a fake meeting, and also to release some false information, and that right there was going to pay off. But like Tina obviously knew that this right here was a trap, but she had went willingly. And so we see that her master, it is not actually who I thought it would be. It is actually one of the professors that actually work with Rentaro Sensei. And so this guy was like something like Ain Raid, or hopefully I'll say his name right, but I definitely know that this guy was definitely one of the professors that had a part in that new humanity creation plan. So like even though that these scientists don't work together, it is nice that they're all still around. So this guy was a master all this time. And apparently, like he said that if Tina fails this time, to just kill herself. That right there was like pretty intense. But we see now that she probably was planning on going through that, and she actually, set her home on fire. So it goes to show you that she had no intention of returning back. And so now we see that Rentaro, he is now doing some training, because he had contact Miori. And we see now that he had to set up this like virtual training. And so we see it now in the desert region, and he's taking out all these gunmen, and the only one that had damaged him was the sniper. And so while he was complaining the sniper, he was like thinking of Tina, and that caused him to get hit, like 2 times, because we saw the first shot, it like grazed his arm because it caught him, so unexpected. And the second one got him when he was like deep in thought, and then when grazed his cheek. But we see now that Tina, her rank is like it's pretty freaking crazy how powerful she is. Because if Inju was like a rank 86, I think it was, and Tina is at least 1.5 times stronger than her, it goes to show you that even though this girl is definitely rather lazy, especially when it comes to the daytime, she is still so freaking powerful. But then we go to this, supposed meeting, and we see that it's nothing but these like broken down buildings. And of course, Tina here knew what the trap, but she still had one anyway. And we see now. Oh, I also forgot to mention that Rentaro had also, went to meet a sensei, and we actually learn more about the kind of like cube, like this cube device. And apparently Tina here can control 3 of them at one time, and apparently like these machinery, they allow her to control these snipers remotely. So that really was impressive. But to be honest, I was kind of surprised to see how deep of a relationship that Rentaro has with the scientist, because she was saying that Rentaro here is like the only one that kind of keeps her tied down and like tied to this world, and so he wants to prove that this fist or this arm that she gave him is supposed to be used to protect people that are close to him. And so now we see that when he does confront Tina, and we see that he actually reveals his true arm and leg. I like that scene. I don't know why, but I find it really cool. Like whenever he does that, because obviously he does hide it for a reason. But when he shows it off and uses it to its full potential, that I'm like definitely digging. And so we see that thanks to like this robot eye that Rentaro has, he sees the world differently. Like to him, things are like very slowed down, so it lets him dodge more, and it did come in handy. But we see now that against Tina, he still struggled with that, because even though he could react once he saw the gunfire, he still has some problem dodging it. And we see Tina actually got a few good hits, because we see that when Rentaro was like charging at her, she had shot him one time, and the force, I guess, from that bullet, it was like able to repel him off, and we saw him almost crash. But I definitely like the way that that is his leg work, because he can move so freaking fast, and even when it seems that that he could possibly get hurt from like a possible height, he can get like the short little boost that can propel him upward, and it did come in handy. So I definitely like the way that he actually uses his body to his advantage. But we see now that when he does escape her sight, and she does bring out these like drones, we see that whenever these drones do locate them, they like contact the snipers that are being controlled remotely to like fire at once. And so we see that these snipers, they're like definitely powerful. And so so Rentaro had that quickly, and so he like did take one out. And there was like this one scene where like 2 of them were like looking for him at once, and he shot one, but I do believe that he only grazed the other. And so when that one found him and started shooting him, I do believe that like one of the snipers did hit him on the side. Now I could be wrong about that, but to me it definitely looked like that he got hit in the side though. But luckily he was like able to recover, and he did take him out. And so we see now that like once he escaped from there and took him out, he thought he was fine, because obviously he took out 3, and that right there is how many Tina was like reported to be able to control, like 3 at once. And so when it finally come face to face, you would think that we'll get their true final battle right then and there. But Tina here was smart about it. She like kept him away at a distance, and then we see that she shot Rentaro once, and that made him fall. And we see, like I said, he could use the leg for like a short boost, because he did use that to like stop himself from like falling and actually jump on this window, and then he jumped right back up. I definitely love the way that his body is. It is impressive, and I am liking how he gets fighting more, because whatever kind of like martial arts he uses, it is pretty freaking badass. And so we see that once it gets up to where Tina was, she's now gone. But we see now that Miori, she's like calling him constantly, giving him all this helpful information. And she was saying that Tina is nearby, and she was somewhere on this floor, but no matter where, like he cannot see her at all. But she was actually above him. And then we see that they actually fight close quarters. And so now we see that Tina here, she actually had one more drone. And just when that drone was actually, going to, like order the other snipers to like shoot at him, she actually destroyed it herself. But that right there did cause an explosion to knock back Rentaro, because he had pulled out this grenade, but he had dropped it. And we see that the force from that explosion, it definitely hurt him, because we saw him coughing up a lot of blood. It was definitely a lot of blood that he was like coughing up. And it goes to show you, how badly he was hurt. And he was thinking that, it could possibly be over for him. But we see now that grenade that he dropped, like he actually thought that, that it was kind of like effective. But we see that when he thought he was going to die, and he closed his eyes, we see that he actually sort of injured, and injured had caught out to him, and that was there, it woke him up. And now we see that grenade, what was like a flash grenade, it had went off, and it actually had blinded Inju. Not Inju, I mean Tina, my bad. It had blinded Tina. And so now we see that Rentaro, like he now gets to resolve the fight, because obviously he cannot die here. He has Inju, Kisara, and he also has, his scientist friend, having all the hopes in him. So now he gets up, and Nietzsche breaks out all of these, martial art techniques, and they were just so freaking badass. I love them. And didn't use like this one technique. It was like this powerful kick that had sent Tina down, multiple floors, and that were there, it was just so freaking impressive. And so because of that, he actually took her out, and we see that Tina had actually wanted Rentaro to like finish her off, but he was not going to do that, and he actually, thanked her for saving Inju, because obviously if she not get involved, then Inju will like probably be dead by now. But we see that Rentaro, he now picked her up, and he carried her out, and he actually plans on like looking out for her. So even though these two just fought, they are still friends and on good terms, and Rentaro actually wants to look out for her. But then we see out of nowhere that Tina here, she actually gets shot, and at first I thought that maybe somebody had killed or had shot Rentaro. Or it's possible that Rand guy, he might have came there and shot Tina himself, but it was actually the leader of Senteshi Guard. He had came there and he shot Tina, and of course he like planning on killing her, but that right there would not be possible without those Varanium bullets, and we all know that right there is the same metal that Rentaro body is made out of. And so now he had his men hold down Rentaro, and we see now that he actually planning on killing Tina, and he even had the nerve to like ask Rentaro how many bullets do you think it'll take to kill her this way. And this guy was a complete dick, but luckily we had Senteshi. She had now came there, and and this kind of struck everybody's mind, but obviously they had to let go of Rentaro, because this right here was not a good sight for them. And so now, because Rentaro had protected her life, and he also took out Tina, she would like give him anything that he wanted. And of course, Rentaro wanted power to protect everybody that he wants to protect. So what does Senteshi do? She actually raised his rank to 300, and of course that right there, I believe it put him in like second in command to Kisara's grandfather, I believe. And so now we see that a former, or yeah, I'm guessing her former guard leader, he was still holding a gun, and Rentaro shot it out of his hand. But not only that, I do believe that Rentaro also shot off one of his fingers, and if he did, then that would it's just freaking hilarious, because I was laughing at that scene, because that guy definitely had it coming. But now he was saying that if this guy ever comes near Tina again, then he'll shoot him, or possibly kill him. And that right there, he definitely had that coming. But now we go to about, I believe, like a week later or so, where we see that that Tina here, she was taken in, and she was being interrogated, and they are trying to and they are trying to get more information about that professor that she was working with. But when Rentaro does go to his office, we see now that it's still being repaired, as we saw that it's like covered by this sheet. But when he gets there, we see now that Andrew, she's fine now, which is good, and she was obviously there. But when Rentaro took his seat, he was like thinking about Tina, and of course we like see her bringing him a glass of water, and when he realizes who it is, he like pisses it out, and it was just so freaking funny. But now we see that Tina, she's free, and because she did not have a place to return to, Kisara actually hired her. So I do believe that Tina and Kisara, they're not gonna be a pair, which would be pretty freaking awesome, because like I said in my previous review, I am definitely impressed by Kisara's sword skills, and the fact now that she has this like long range partner, they make a fantastic duo. So I would love to see Tina and Kisara go out there and do some jobs, fight alongside Rentaro and Inju. And now we see that even though both of them almost died, Tina and Inju, even though both of them almost died, they're now acting very close, and that really is definitely a good sight to see. I'm glad that Inju is not holding a grudge. So we did get it. So we did get a happy ending, and we got an amazing fight. This episode, I'll give it like maybe 8.5 out of 10. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because to me the episode, it was very good. We got a ton of story progression, and we now have a new member to our main roster. So that video is definitely good. But as always, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. And you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.